Now, my teacher had always told me that if I would be serious, I had a gift in writing. Shout out Miss Moss. But, you know, being young and dumb, I'm playing football. I ain't, you know, just I need to get through. But it wasn't until then I heard her voice playing through my head when I'm thinking like, what? Like make music, like write music. I'm literally talking to myself in the whip, sitting in Charleston Southern parking lot. And I'm like, well, I could write. And I'm feeling, you know, I can do this. Like, you know. And I knew then it was like, okay, I wasn't liking what was happening with football because I felt like I just didn't like the way it was structured in college. I didn't like the way some of the coaches were talking to me. I'm like, if I don't like this now, I'm definitely not going to like it when millions of dollars are at stake. It's just how I thought. I'm not here to, y'all can judge it if you want. But that is, I felt like if I could develop a voice, that can never be taken from me. Now, I didn't know what all that would entail and all the things that it would come with it to get to this point. But that's why I started making music. It was literally an overwhelming conviction, an inner knowing that that's what I was supposed to be doing. So I feel like the birth, the kickstart of me putting pen to pad and searching for beats, making beats and all of that, and the desire to want to do this just stems from that very moment right there. I have everything on the table. Everybody, coaches invested in me, community support, even whether I recognize it or not, it was there. I had enough. The storyboard was set. Charleston Southern, make it from a small school, help your school get on the map. Shout out Charles James too, because me and him were in the same situation. We had the red shirt, we had to get some things right. I had a really high SAT score, but like an average GPA, because I BS'd around. So I wasn't all the way eligible my first year. Me and him were in the same situation. I remember this moment. We had this breezeway at Charleston Southern where the math hall was, and it was a two-way stairway, and you would meet in the middle and then go into the building. We were both scrambling and turning the paper. I don't know, he probably don't even remember me, but I remember this moment. We both running up opposite ends of the stairs, and we got there, and it was kind of like not a standoff, but it was like, yeah, I see you doing the same thing I'm doing, you know? And I give him credit because he stuck with it, and he ended up going to the league, you know? He ended up going to the league. So I kind of lived through Charles in that regard because I'm like, yo, I know that if I would have just stuck with it and endured it, the stage was set, the story was there. But I chose what I chose because at the time, what I would call just me making a decision was really just me being exhausted. All my life, been moving. Just went through all that trauma, and I had to hold it together for so long just to walk across that stage. But when I got to the point where I could make my own decisions, I wanted to find me. And I don't know how that sounds, but I needed to find me. I started growing my locks at that moment when I decided I would follow that inner voice against all odds. I think the only thing I said is I'll do it. I'll walk away. I don't care what people say, but just don't have me looking like a fool. That was my only thing I discussed with the source. And I did that. And I remember my first year, like I said, I didn't know nothing about nothing. I'm jacking beats online, SoundClick, whatever I can get them from, making songs, putting them out. There was no hesitation at all. Even to the point where some of the stuff that I put out early on, I probably should have held on to, but the rush of, first of all, I hearing myself on wax or whatever like that, combined with like, it was just common sense. If I'm making music, I need to put it out. I was doing open mics. I was very active. Within a year, with the help of one of my brothers, shout out Raw, he was like my manager basically. And that brother went extremely hard for me. I remember we would be everywhere. I would come pick him up and we doing whatever we could do.
He believed in me, even though I wasn't the best. I'm still figuring it out. In my mind, you couldn't tell me I wasn't the best, though. I knew it. I knew what I would become then. And I never forget, I was snoozing, and I got the phone call, and he was like, yo, I just ran into this touring manager. He's throwing a show down here at the music farm. I gave him your stuff. He heard it. He wants you to open up for such and such artists. I'll never forget that feeling. But I'm only saying that to say, in the beginning, there was less apprehension about things. There was less caring about this or that. I just made it and I put it out. And within a year, I'm performing at the music farm. You know, that was a big accomplishment when I look back at it. But that was just a little introduction to what fuels me in all of my creations. When you see me doing collaboration videos with this person or that person, it's because at my core, I'm a person that believes in collaboration. But really, it could be just some things that I need to address inwardly. But that's all a part of the package. Like, I put that in my music. I put that passion into whatever I'm doing. I work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I got a family. You know, I maintain that. And I still find time to make music, mix music, video edit, do documentaries, help this person, help that person. Man, honestly, and this is just me getting out of that old, I just gotta call it how it is. I've transformed or put people on, just from nothing to something that they're living. I've done that more times than I can count. And I'm just now getting to a point where I'm like, fuck it being perfect. Fuck not expressing this stuff, because I'm not waiting on anybody to give me my flowers for anything, because it'll never happen. Me getting to this point, realizing where people just take, and here I am, I believe in collaboration, community, and all of that, and I'm like, well, if I am the change that I want to see, and that's us working together, combining our efforts to make this ecosystem, then they'll catch on eventually. And it's not all bad, but doing that for 15, 16, 17 years, man, I can't believe it's been that amount of time.